Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. Today is Friday, November the 12th. So hopefully you guys have had a good trading week and you'll have a nice end to the trading week as well. Now I'm just going to put the disclaimers up, there they are, on the top left hand side. Please read them just for legal reasons and also to understand what you can expect from these types of demonstrations. That's not relevant, let's get rid of that. No thanks. So my name is Becky. For those of you that don't know or haven't joined our sessions before, this is me, Becky, and my email address is becky@tradictive.com. There's also support@tradictive.com, which are two emails that you can send questions to. If you need us to clarify anything, by all means reach out. There's also another place that you can go to reach out, which is this link here, which is tradewithufos.com/Becky. From this link, you can get apps if you want to directly from here, and I'll show you some of them in a second. You can book one-on-one coaching if you want to. But also down here, once you've signed in, you can post questions publicly, which means we can answer them publicly. So you'll see down here there are different questions and different answers attached. It means we can all learn from this area. So if you're comfortable to, by all means, please do post questions on this link so that we can respond to them on here as well. So 3D market commentary, what is it? Let me just bring up what we're looking at. So we send an email every day to our free members, and on that email we have information on 5 major world markets, looking at probabilities and statistics with those markets. We get those probabilities and statistics from 3 separate elements. That's why we call it a 3D approach. So the first thing we look at is market climate, i.e. where's the market likely to be going? Does it have probability up, probability down, or probability nowhere? In which case we have a better idea of whether or not we buy, we sell, or we do nothing. So we use an app to help us with this. Everything we do uses technology. We're using an app called AutoClimate, which is a free app on most platforms. You can get it on. And what AutoClimate does is it tells us with these coloured dots here where we have probabilities. So ignore the lines, focus on the dots. If we have a thick blue dot, that tells us probability is upwards. If we were to have a thick red dot, that might look something like that, that would tell us probability is downwards. If we have a thin dot of either colour, that tells us probability is neither direction. So it gives us an idea based on the colours of these dots and the thickness of them where we have probabilities, up, down, or nowhere. So we look at that per market. Then what we look at is unfilled orders, buy and sell UFOs. Essentially what we're looking at here are where are the big stacks of buyers and where are the big stacks of sellers. Now we want to know that because lots of buyers are likely to push price up. Lots of sellers are likely to push price down. So we want to know where they are. And again, we use an app to help us with this. It's called AutoUFOs. And it shows us with these little green UFOs, and the price is highlighted on the right hand side, where we have buyers. Shows us these little red UFOs and prices highlighted on the right hand side. That shows us where we have sellers. So we can see from there where price might be likely to turn. And we'll look at that as well per market. And then the third element is market volatility, how quickly these markets are likely to move. So let's have a look at each of those elements per market. And we're starting with the S&P 500, which is the top 500 US stocks. That's what we're looking at first. Now, everything we're looking at is on a daily chart, so everything is relevant to the daily time frame, okay? So with the S&P 500, we have an unconfirmed climate, a thin dot. Doesn't matter the colour. The fact is it's a thin dot, so it's unconfirmed, which means not enough probability either way. This market is currently unsure what it's doing. Now, kind of not surprising because we have buyers underneath us, 4619.5 to 4559.25, and we have sellers just above us. So we've got buyers and sellers very close together. The sellers are between 4707 to 4663.25. So again, overall indecision here, buyers and sellers close to us. One of them's going to have to win before we see clear probabilities in one direction. So we will wait for that to happen. In terms of volatility for the S&P, we would expect it to move up or down in 1 year by 17.58%. So in 1 day, that's 51.47 points up or down. In a week is 113.3 points up or down. And in a month is 235.86 points up or down. So that's the S&P 500. Now the next market is crude oil. Now as I load this, it says here about looking to educate yourself, different courses you can do. We do courses in futures, stocks, forex, backtesting, trading plans and psychology. So check those out if you think any of those would be helpful for you. So I'm just squidging this so that we can see the orders there. Now most of our courses come with a 3-month complimentary access to the apps. Now AutoClimate is a free app on most platforms, you can get it on anyway. AutoUFOs is a paid for app and it depends which platform you use as to what the cost of it is. Now you can subscribe directly to the AutoUFOs, you don't have to do a course, just that most of the time it actually ends up cheaper to combine it than it does to just do the UFOs by themselves. So check that out depending on what's useful for you. So back to crude oil, we have a thick red dot, probability downwards. We are at the start of what would be a normal move to the downside, so room for it to continue down based on what usually happens. And we haven't got buyers for quite a while. The closest buyers are at 71.48 to 69.39. So overall probability to the downside here with oil, with room for it to continue. With volatility, we'd expect that oil would go up or down in 1 year by 36.2%. So in 1 day, that's 1.83 points up or down. In a week is 4.03 points up or down, and in 1 month is 8.39 points up or down. So that's crude oil. Now, next market is gold. So let's have a look at gold here. Now it says there about coaching and support. We offer a bunch of coaching and support for free, so join us on many different free platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, things like that. And we also offer a closed coaching community for a small monthly price as well, which is access to more of our time in a closed environment. So check that out if you want. Otherwise, we do have a bunch of free coaching and support for free. So on gold, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Thick blue dot, probability upwards. Now we're coming to the end of what might be a normal move to the upside with gold, but we do still have room for it to keep going. We have sellers up here, 1962.5 to 1938.4, and buyers all the way down here at 1652.8 to 1624.4. So we're kind of quite far away from our closest big stacks of buyers and sellers. For the time being, the probability is coming from the climate, pushing gold upwards. So overall probability up here for gold. With volatility, we'd expect gold to go up or down in 1 year by 16.95%. So in a day, that's up or down of 19.77 points. In a week, that's 43.52 points. And in a month is 90.6 points. So that's gold. Okay, next market is the US dollar. Now the US dollar is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide daily, so be aware of it, whether you trade it or not. So with the US dollar, we have a thick blue dot, probability upwards, confirmed probability upside. We are in the middle of what might be a normal move to the upside, so room for it to continue. We have buyers beneath us at 94.645 to 93.865. And we have sellers above us at 96.145 to 95.675. So overall, again, we're kind of in between those two stacks of buyers and sellers, unlikely for either of them to impact the market today. We have our probability to the upside that's coming from the climate. So overall, probability up here with the dollar. In terms of volatility with the dollar, we'd expect it to move up or down in 1 year by 6.03%. So in 1 day, that's up or down of 0.36 points. In a week, that's 0.8 points. And in 1 month, that's 1.66 points up or down. So that's the US dollar. Now, last but not least is backed Bitcoin. Now, just as I load that, just to say, I know we're talking about statistics and probabilities. Just because something is probable does not mean it's definite. So of course we still manage our risk. We still might have other things that we layer on top of this to make it even more probable. But just to make sure that we know that none of this is a guarantee, it's all to do with what's more likely to happen and probabilities. So with backed Bitcoin, this is our last market that we're looking at today. We have a thick blue dot, confirmed probability upwards, climate to the upside, probability up. Now, we do have a situation where prices are coming down at the moment. We have buyers here at 62,692.5 to 60,947.5. If price were to hit this stack of buyers, we wouldn't be surprised to see it go up from there. Now, saying that, if it were to move up from here and hit these sellers, which are between 69,000 and 66,642.5, we would expect price to move down from that point. So at the moment, still probability up coming from the climate, but actually pushing down at the moment. So if it were to hit these buyers and come up, we'd see a continuation of this climate. If it were to go up a little bit and then hit the sellers, again, we might ultimately see a change of climate. But for now, still probability to the upside. Now with volatility on Bitcoin, we would expect it to move up or down in 1 year by 98.39%. So in 1 day, that's up or down of 3,975.39 points. In a week, it's 8,751.41 points. And in 1 month, it's 18,217.52 points. So that's back to Bitcoin. Now, for each of our markets, this was the last one, we have looked at market climate. Using AutoClimate, this free app on most platforms you can get it on, that tells us where the probabilities are. Was it a thick blue dot and therefore probability was up? Was it a thick red dot, like that, and therefore probability was down? Or was it a thin dot of either colour and therefore probability was neither way? So we looked at that per market. We then looked at buy and sell UFOs. Where do we have buyers and sellers that could push price up or down respectively? And then we looked at market volatility, how quickly the markets are expected to move. Now, just to round this off, we want to come down and have a look at our weekly economic calendar, which we get from FX Street, and we filter by high impact news, meaning we want to know which scheduled news reports are likely to have a high impact on these markets and help them to move a little bit more, increase volatility, which could be good or bad depending on how you see volatility. So today being Friday, we've got some news coming out in an hour or so on the US markets that could affect US stocks and the US dollar. So be aware of that if you trade those markets. If you have any questions, you can email me, that's becky@tradictive.com, or you can email support@tradictive.com, or you can go to tradewithufos.com/Becky, sign into this free area here, and then you can ask questions down at the bottom there, and we can then respond to them. So all of the questions and answers are for everybody to see. We can all learn from each other. From this link as well, you can book one-on-one coaching if you think that would be helpful, and you can book or you can download the platforms or the apps that you need for the platforms you already use, if you find those helpful. Otherwise, guys, hopefully you have a great end to a trading week. I'm doing a stock session a bit later on today, so if you trade US stocks and want to join me for that, it is at, well, 5 p.m. my time, which I believe is 12 p.m. Eastern. I think I'm right on that. So I'll see you guys a little bit later on today. Any questions, please let us know. Have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.